Previously on Life with Matthew.
The next one is going to be a little more positive about one of my favorite cinematic scenes.
And now for something completely different.
Hello and welcome. I know, this is not the video I promised. However, I realized on Friday after I posted, it was Saturday by the time it finally went up after all the content ID matching, that there's no way I was going to be able to do my usual production quality video within 2 to 3 days. So I happened to find a news article I really want to talk about, so we're going to talk about that instead. In fact, there's 2 pieces of comic book news I want to talk about real quick. And then next week I will be doing my favorite cinematic scene, as long as I don't get distracted by work or space engineers. So we'll see. Now you may remember that the very first video I ever did on this channel was talking about the Joker 2019 movie that's going to be released in October this year, and how excited I was for it. It is the definition of a perfect trailer. It shows you just enough to get you interested, leaves lots of unknown questions, and most importantly, it doesn't give away every great moment in the movie. At least, it doesn't look like that so far. We'll find out in October. However, this past week, I found out that the director has come out and said that the Joker is not going to be based on any Joker we've ever seen before, or anything to do with the comic book, really. Now, on the one hand, I kind of like that idea, in the Marvel universe, and this is not to be a Marvel versus DC discussion. I like both of them. In fact, if you remember, it was the animated Superman and Batman and Justice League that actually got me into the American comic book scene in the first place. So, I love DC stuff. Please don't get the wrong idea. But when you look at the two, Marvel has done a good job of creating unique characters, new plot lines, while at the same time picking the best plots out of the existing comic book movies so that we get a character who is both new and at the same time faithful to who he was in the comic books. So it's not that I care that we're getting something new. What I care is that DC seems to have a problem with actually being faithful to who the comic book version of the character is. And remember, I freely admit and recognize that the Joker has had lots of different iterations over the video games and comic books and movies. Some of them great, some of them not so great. So it's not that I care the Joker's going to be a new one. What I care is that the director has come out and directly said, we didn't follow anything from the comic books, which people are going to be mad about. This is a problem. They know they're going to make people mad, and they just don't care. And I think that this is a problem that DC is having across the board. If you look at the Justice League and Batman v Superman movies, and Suicide Squad, and even Man of Steel a little bit, they don't care about making characters that the fans are going to love. It seems like, I say Zack Snyder because it seems like he's kind of the Kevin Feige of the DC universe. They call it a think tank on their side. It's Kevin Feige and his wife and 2 or 3 other people. But this think tank running the DCEU, they seem to be more interested in creating Zack Snyder movies than they are interested in making a good DC movie. And I think it's suffering for that. So Zack Snyder, if by chance you happen to listen to this, you need to find yourself a Kevin Feige. Someone who loves the DC universe and can run multiple movies across a long stretch of time. You jumped the gun with the Justice League movie. It should have been 2 to 3 more years out with individual movies for each one of the characters you introduced. But, too late. Water under the bridge. Let's move forward. The problem you're facing is that you literally don't care about your fans. That's what I hear from the director when he says, we didn't follow anything from the comic books. We know people are going to be mad. They want this to be a Last Jedi situation. They want the fan base completely divided with a bunch of the die-hard DC fans, and props to those die-hard DC fans. You guys are committed, and I'm proud of that. Way to go. But you're going to have those people who are just die-hard, and they will refuse to admit that this is a problem. And then you're going to have the people who are, what people like Gary Nerdrotic would say are the normies. And I fall into that camp. I freely admit it. And the normies, we're going to see this movie, and we're going to go, well, this doesn't really feel like a Joker movie at all. This feels like a guy who has mental health problems and descends into chaos, which it looks like that's the way they're going with the movie. I'm disappointed by this because I think Hollywood has a really bad reputation about how they treat mental health disorders. It's a subject that is very near and dear to my own heart on a personal level and on a just my relationships around me level. Uh, I don't like the way they portray it. And guys, if you're out there, and girls too, obviously, and you're suffering from depression or anxiety or whatever it is that your mental health is doing, go find help. Whatever that help is going to be, just remember that medications, they can't solve your problem. You're going to need a support base, and I really hope you go and find that support base. Find the people that love and care for you and will stick through you and not be driven away when you're having your bad moments. That special message aside, it seems as if they're going to be, again, abusing the mental health people in this movie, that mental health makes you inherently dangerous, and I don't like that. So that's another strike against it in my category. But here we see the director saying, we just wrote our own version of where a guy like Joker might come from. And that's what's interesting to me. We're not even doing Joker, but the story of becoming Joker. It's about this man. Now, maybe he's wording this poorly. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's just like me. He gets in front of a camera, he starts talking, and dumb things come out of his mouth from time to time. Sorry about that. But at the same time, I don't think he is. I read this, and what I see is that that the director was asked to make a Joker movie. And I'm assuming this was done by Zack Snyder. They said, hey, we need to get people interested again after the dumpster fire that was the Justice League. So let's make a Joker movie, because that is a huge, huge fan base. So he put Todd Phillips, the director, in charge of this, and Todd Phillips said, screw that, I'm going to do my own thing. And here we see he took the Joker to get all the diehard DC fanboys to come sit down in the movie theater. But then we're not actually going to get anything Joker-like. This is someone who would be dead by the time Bruce Wayne started to become the Batman. He wouldn't be this intimidating figure. And yeah, the Joker is supposed to be older than Bruce Wayne, but Joaquin Phoenix, I don't know what his age actually is, but the Joker in this movie, I'd say he's in his 40s, whereas Bruce Wayne is 10. So by the time he's fighting crime, and I'm saying Batman starts fighting crime late 20s, early 30s, Joker would be 70. This isn't a Joker character that would ever be the king of crime in the Batman universe. So I think they're setting themselves up for failure. I'm disappointed by it. And it seems like this is a problem DC has just across the board with their universe. I mean, take a look at Aquaman. Aquaman is what I would describe as one of their best movies, right up there with Wonder Woman and Shazam. From what I've heard, I haven't gotten to see it yet. Very excited to see it soon. But, I mean, look at Aquaman over here. DCEU is owned by Warner Brothers. They have money to put into fixing things. But look at the CGI. I watched these scenes, and I was just sitting there going, what on earth? I cannot stay in this movie because of how bad these water CGI scenes look. The heads look as if they're just copy and pasted onto the body and kind of are off center from time to time. Or what about the horrible CGI they did in Batman v Superman? I mean, take a look at Superman on the left, the way his mouth moves, versus the Superman on the right that some guy did on his own with a $500 used computer. Warner Brother has the money to sink into making things look good, and it seems like they just don't care enough to actually put forth the effort to make good quality movies. We also saw this horrible CGI being done in the Justice League movie, most noticeably on, Superman right here, but also on Cyborg. It's just, I don't know what they're doing, but it's not working and they need to fix it. And it feels as if they don't care enough about the fans of the DC comic books to put forth the effort to make this look good. The other comic book news thing I wanted to talk about was that Natalie Portman has been revealed to be the next Thor. And, I don't necessarily care too much about this. Obviously, Thor was going to be replaced. And the way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going right now, that person was going to be a woman. I thought for sure it was going to be Valkyrie. So I was surprised to find out that it was Natalie Portman. But I shouldn't have been, because they had a Jane Foster Thor storyline in the Marvel comics, but it was hated. And that's the thing I don't understand, that it seems like Marvel is going down this path of they care more about the social messaging they're putting into their movies than they are about the content. And it's confusing because Kevin Feige has done a great job of making sure that the comic books are the best storylines he's picked from. starting with Captain Marvel, it seems like that changed. And I'm hoping that if Kevin Feige is still in charge and that he's not just a figurehead, because Marvel knows how much we love Kevin Feige. So if Kevin Feige is still in charge, I'm really hoping that he's just making some dumb choices. He gets his head out of the sand and starts making good choices again. But like in Captain Marvel, to take the Kree storyline, which could have been the entire focus of Phase 4, and wondering who's a Kree, who's not, and turning it into kind of a illegal alien, oh, we need to focus on them, they're just misunderstood storyline, really was a disservice to the Kree and to the comic book fans. It made the social message trump the story. And there's nothing wrong with doing a movie with social messaging. I've talked about this before, but you just need to make sure that you don't sock puppet your actors, where it's as if the director shoves his hand into the actor and moves their mouth so that he can make a political message while the movie is paused to make this message. So there are good ways to do social messaging, and I hope that Hollywood gets back to those good ways instead of just treating its fan like they're troglodytes and that we need to be preached at, because let's face it, we're not. I know they think we are, but we're not. So I really hope that this Natalie Portman being Thor, that it's not one more sign of things to come, of just the social pressure trying to make its way into comic book movies. We'll see. So that's my 2 bits of comic book news. Neither one too good, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get some better news here in the future. Now, before you go, and I know this is the part of the video where most people are already heading for that X button up there, but wait. Stick around. I just have one last bit of housekeeping to do, and I think you're going to like it, or I think you're going to benefit from it, because if you're enjoying the videos I put out, you need to come over here to theantitrekker.com. He has a forum set up there run by Bird of Prey 5, who I highly recommend you go check out his videos. And it's a community where people who enjoy the comic book industry, movies in general, just a wide range of topics, we gather together and we get to support one another. And I especially do want to give a shout out to Bird of Prey 5 and to The Rambling Canuck. If you haven't seen their channels yet, I'm going to link both of them below. But if you haven't seen their channels yet, go over to them. The Rambling Canuck does some great videos. He talks about Enterprise. He also does live streams that are just so enjoyable to have on and listen to. Bird of Prey 5, he does a lot of Let's Play stuff, and he does a lot of live streaming, and he's just well worth the listen to. In fact, he has an amazing story. I'm going to try to find this story in which he talks about how he hurt his back, or not how he hurt his back, how he went into the hospital for a procedure and has been confined to a bed since then. It is amazing. I'm not going to give any more spoilers beyond that right there, but go listen to him. He is so worth the listen. But I want to shout them out because this past week, I had a problem with getting my video up, and both of them were extremely supportive, and that's the sort of support you're going to see in this community. And don't let the name Anti-Trekker put you off. He actually loves Star Trek. There's a story behind that name, and we're going to find out someday. We just have to hit, I think it's 10,000 subscribers, so by all means, please, go check these people out. Go check out the Anti-Trekker, especially if you enjoy the Last Jedi review I did on the last one. He has a great breakdown of The Last Jedi, the things that were good, the things that were bad. It's a great community. I can't talk enough about it. I'm going to stop rambling. But I hope that y'all stuck around to listen to that. I'm going to wrap it up here. Sorry for the shorter one, guys. It's just I knew I wasn't going to be able to get the regular production quality out. Hopefully this one is better than my last off the cuff. We'll find out. Guys, thank you again. And remember, until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up your countenance and give you peace. Amen.